Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Today, the garden is giving me tons and tons of tomatoes and peppers, so let's cook the harvest. Today we're going to make a delicious restaurant-style salsa. Well, it's kind of rainy outside today, and we had another storm system pass through, so I can't go out and garden. So we're going to cook. You know, I do like to cook what we harvest and show you how I use my tomatoes, my peppers, and all the things we grow back there in the garden. I don't know, man. I always feel like I should open up a second channel, a cooking channel, but no. Let's just cook our harvest, and I think gardeners understand that gardening channels have cooking videos too. And a lot of us can cook pretty well. I've seen some amazing recipes come. This is a recipe that I've I trialed it yesterday, and I've used this for years, and it's just a Mexican style salsa. It uses tomatoes and it uses jalapeños. You could use any kind of pepper. The beauty of a Mexican salsa is you can tailor the flavor. You can roast it, roast your veggies. We're going to put them under the broiler today. You could put them on a wood fire. But I have a secret ingredient. I know that I'm going to go down the ingredients list, but I'm going to add a secret ingredient this time to give it just an extra kick of flavor. So follow along. I don't really use recipes so much. I just cook by heart. So watch what I do, and if you'd like to try it, give it a shot. Let's go. All right, let's run down the ingredients. What we're going to need first is 4 to 5 large tomatoes. Now these are big tomatoes from the garden. You can see that they're golden tomatoes. It doesn't matter what color your tomatoes are. Just make sure they're nice and ripe. So these are my Harvest Moons, and these are my Jolines, and well, that's not the prettiest tomato, but it'll cook up just fine. The leaf-footed bugs have been poking around on this one, and it's not fit for a salad, but it's fit for a salsa. So tomatoes, about 4 or 5 large ones. We need 2 large jalapeños, and I'm going to throw a Serrano pepper in there just for flavor. You can use less or more depending on how much heat you like. We need 3½ cloves of garlic, maybe 4 if you like them. These are large cloves, so about that much. We need an onion. I don't know that we're going to use all of it, but once you cut an onion up, you're kind of stuck with either stinking up your fridge with leftovers or using the whole thing. We need a lime. We need a bunch of cilantro. We need pepper, black pepper. We need salt. We're going to need some ground cumin. And other than that, well, you can doctor it up any way you like, but this is the basis of our salsa. Okay, we have all this freshness, all these ingredients, they look so good. But there's one ingredient that's not fresh, but I think it's going to really give my sauce a great flavor. Here it is. We're going to take a chipotle pepper, and we're going to add this to our mix. And I think that will give it that smokiness. A chipotle pepper is a fire-roasted jalapeno, and they usually come in this adobo sauce. Well, we're gonna add a chipotle or two to our hot sauce. Let's get roasting and get everything in the pan and in the oven. What we're gonna do is place our tomatoes in a cast iron skillet. You can use a glass casserole dish or whatever. Take these stems off, and we're gonna roast them under the broiler on high. We're going to put our peppers in there, our serrano, and our garlic, wherever it'll fit. Now you got to watch the garlic. It'll roast quicker than everything else, and you don't want burnt garlic. I'm going to get flat there. Now I need to leave room for some onion. I'm going to take this onion and get it ready to go in. I'm going to do some halves because it's easier to deal with a half. Let's turn it this way. I want some roastiness on there. We're going to flip these halfway through, so it doesn't really matter, but you want your onion to get kind of soft. All right, so what we're going to do is drizzle that with olive oil. And all of this olive oil, some of it at least, will make its way into our salsa, and that's good. But you don't roast without at least some oil on there. We're going to take some salt and put a little bit of salt on our tomatoes. And we're going to put this under the broiler for 15 minutes or so, and then we'll look at it. What we want is to get some char on the skin of our vegetables and some color. And then we'll flip them and put them in until we get color on the other side. That's what we're after, so let's get them in there. Again, I'm going to check on these in about 15 minutes. It's actually been about 20 minutes. Let's take a look at what we got going here. Here's what we want to see. We want to see color on the tops of our tomatoes and our peppers. We're going to turn them over. Now, right now, I'm also going to pull the garlic out, because the garlic, if you cook it too much, it'll taste burnt, and we don't want that. So I'm going to take this out and set it aside. Now, truth be told, these tomatoes could go a little bit longer, but I'm going to flip them now. I'm going to flip the jalapeños as well. I'm going to flip the onions. They break up a bit, that's okay. What we're going to do is put them back in for another 20 minutes. What we want is we want these tomatoes to be soft so that they'll blend well. We're going to put them in a blender, or if you have a food processor, if you have one of those, you can use that. But I want them to be soft. Let me turn my Serrano too, hiding down there. Alright, we're going to put these back in the oven for another 20 minutes or so. Just keep your eye on them. You want to get some color, some char, because that's where the flavor is. Okay, let's check how we're looking. Yeah, I think we're good. At least we're good for the peppers. Let me take you in here to take a look. And there we have it. Now our onions are kind of soft. They're soft enough that I think they'll blend. I'll blend the onions first with one of the tomatoes. But yeah, this is ready. We're going to let it cool down a little bit before I really have to handle it. Because what I have to do now, I want to take this core, where the stem was, out of each of these big tomatoes. Especially these Harvest Moon varieties, because it had a big core in there and I don't want to be eating that. I'm going to try to do this without burning myself. I'm just going to take a sharp knife and I'm going to take that core out of there. There we go. Because it's hard and it's not going to taste good in our salsa. This particular variety is a very large tomato, therefore it has a kind of a large attachment point, and there, that's good enough. There it is on the floor. Hey, we're real cooking here, folks. We're really cooking. Now comes the easy part. We're going to take the onions and we're going to put them in a blender. You can use a food processor. The onions are the stiffest component of our salsa, so I'm going to try to chop them up first and blend them up a bit. All this liquid in here, you want to take some of that and put it in your salsa as well, because that's good stuff. I'm going to put the peppers in there too. I'm going to cut the stems off, and we're going to get to grinding this stuff up. It is a myth that the heat of a pepper is in the seeds. The heat is actually in the pith, that white part that's inside. So at this point there's no way to get that stuff out. If you like a milder sauce, just don't put as many jalapeños in there. And take our Serrano. Alright, I'm going to get some of this liquid, put it in with that, and see if we can get our onions liquefied. This right here is nothing but flavor. If you like a thicker salsa, then don't do this part. I like kind of a thin salsa. And you need some liquid to get that tomato or those onions in there to be liquefied. I think that ought to do. Maybe one more. Oh, there's a lot of liquid in here. There's a lot of liquid in these tomatoes too. Let's just give these a bit of a blend here. No problem. Liquefied perfectly. Now all the rest of this recipe entails is putting everything in the blender and blending it up to the right consistency that you like. So At this point, I'm going to put in my secret recipe, my secret ingredient. I'm going to add a couple of chipotle peppers, 3 of them, maybe 4. They're kind of small. I'm going to add those in. I'm going to put a handful of cilantro. Let's do that at the end. Don't want to overgrind it. I'm going to put, about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more of cumin, ground cumin. That's about a teaspoon. That's about a teaspoon and a half. I'm going to add some more salt. Go easy on the salt. You can always add salt later. And some black pepper. Again, this is to taste. If you don't like it, don't put it in. I'm also going to take the juice of a lime and squeeze it in there as well. There's nothing like limes in Mexican cooking. If you live in Texas, especially southern and central Texas, then you know about Tex-Mex cuisine. It's a fusion of Mexican and Texas cuisine from which we get fajitas and all kinds of other wonderful dishes. And the lime is very important in Tex-Mex cooking. All right, we're going to put our tomatoes in along with our peppers and just blend everything up. I gotta make some room over here for my pan. Everything goes in, skin and all, because that skin, again, has that roastiness on there. That's what we want. We want that roasted flavor. All right, should we put our cilantro in now? I think so. I'm going to take some cilantro and I'm just going to twist off a good handful. I'm not a big fan of cilantro, but my wife is, so between the two of us, that should do just fine. Let's blend. Now, if you want a chunky salsa, I think you would stop there. And let's see what we got. You got kind of a chunky salsa. Here's a chunky salsa if you like that. And you can see how thick it is even though we put some extra liquid in there. Let me give it a taste. Oh wow, that's just about perfect as it is. Maybe a little bit more salt. Just a little bit. A couple of pinches. It's got just the right amount of lime juice in it. Maybe a little bit more cumin, just a little bit. And that's going to be it. Now, I like a little bit smoother salsa, so let's grind it up some more. What have we got now? Yes. Perfect. Okay. Now let's give it a try, see what it tastes like. Its color is pretty nice. It's about right for a, well, it's redder than I expected using those yellow and orange tomatoes, but let's try it. Can taste a little bit of smokiness, not much. If I'd have roasted my vegetables on a fire, on a wood fire especially, I would have been able to taste that smoky flavor. If you want smoky flavor without having to roast anything over a wood fire, do them in the oven like I did here, and then add some smoked paprika, some Spanish smoked paprika. That will help you get some smoke flavor without resorting to that awful liquid smoke nonsense. Just the right amount of heat too. We would call this maybe a medium heat. I could probably have afforded to put more of those chipotle peppers in here. Chipotle peppers themselves aren't that hot. They're not that spicy. But with jalapenos, anytime you put one in, you never know what you're going to get. You could get mild, you could get scalding hot. Especially for some reason today, jalapenos vary too much than they did when I was a kid. But Yeah, that's good, man. I could probably have put some more spice in here, but this will go on tacos tonight. You can use it with salsa, chips, and dip. You can put it on just about anything. This is fantastic on scrambled eggs. Yeah, good stuff. Hey, thanks for joining me today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening, where we cook the stuff we grow in our garden. If you'd like to learn how to garden in a small backyard context, and well, I've been doing gardening for 20 years, and my channel has hundreds of videos to help you learn how to garden. Subscribe and I'll show you how. And if you'd like to support our channel, please check out our Amazon shop in the link below. Every time I suggest something there, it's because I actually use it and I think it would be helpful for you. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Thanks for learning to cook with me, and we'll talk to you next time. Happy gardening, happy cooking. Bye-bye. I'm double dipping because it's mine. Wow, that's good. It's good when it's warm too. That's the best salsa I've made in a long time.